This is the most excited I've been to compare two LEGO Star Wars sets in a long time. On my right side, we've got the 2015 UCS Boba Fett's Slave 1. And on my left side, we've got the 2025 UCS Jango Fett's Starship. This video is sponsored by Rakuten, so more on them and how they can get you cash back when you buy LEGO later in the video. But I want to start us out with some basic info on both these sets. The 2015 set originally sold for $200. Adjusted for inflation, that's $270. It's got 1,996 pieces. By comparison, the 2025 Jango Starship is $300 with 2,970 pieces. So over 1,000 more pieces in this newer model. But as you might be able to tell from the boxes, it doesn't look all that much bigger. Now, both of these sets are also from two clearly different times. Box art and instructions aren't part of the scoring for my comparisons, but we do need to discuss them up front here. The 2015 set, one of the best box arts of all time. It's also called Slave 1 on the box. The 2025 set, this bland all black art and just called the Starship on the box. So you can see very much a sign of the times as far as the packaging goes. The instructions tell a similar tale, where the 2015 version comes with just beautiful instruction books. The 2025 version just has these kind of boring white instruction books. They look clean, don't get me wrong, but there was just something special about the way LEGO did their packaging back in the day for UCS sets. It doesn't feel special or unique anymore. Getting into our first scoring category here with the minifigs, the first thing you'll notice is that Boba Slave 1 comes with twice as many minifigs as Jango Slave 1. Plus, you've got the Han Solo Carbonite piece. So on quantity alone, Boba's Slave 1 has the edge. And it's not because Kamino didn't have options for third and fourth minifigs here. Many people have pointed out that they easily could have included Obi-Wan Kenobi, Taun We, perhaps Jango Fett in an alternate outfit. There were options here that LEGO chose not to take, versus the Boba Slave 1 where they chose to include some of those extra characters. Is it a slight OT bias? Maybe. I don't think that Jango Slave 1 necessarily needed extra characters. Boba Slave 1, I think, lended itself more to that, but I still think you could make the argument that Jango certainly should have had it. So on quantity alone, Boba's has the edge. Quality is also important when it comes to minifigs, and so we'll just straight up compare the Boba and Jango since they're both bounty hunter minifigs, and yeah, technically kind of the same character, but not. Both of these are clearly very extensively and accurately detailed minifigs. They both look very good. The biggest downside to the Boba Fett, I would say, is the rangefinder, just being the older rangefinder compared to what they just came out with in 2025 for this Jango, just looks so much better than what they used to use. So to me, that's the only real difference. I guess I should also point out the updated head underneath the helmet for Jango Fett compared to the kind of bland one for Boba Fett with the angry clone face. So they did something a lot better with Jango, and they even, of course, included that hairpiece there. On one more thing, the Boba Fett includes the printed cloth piece. Oh, it's so good. What an amazing piece. Love to see that. That's something they probably honestly wouldn't include in a modern version of a UCS Boba Slave 1, unfortunately, because they're just so cheap these days. But as far as this comparison is concerned, that definitely helps out the Boba Fett minifig. Now, when it comes to the other Boba Fett minifig, maybe I should have compared him one-to-one with that Boba, but young Boba Fett is the only other minifig included in Jango Slave 1. In my opinion, he is very much in the running for one of the worst minifigs of the last decade for LEGO Star Wars, and that cannot be said about the Bespin Guard, Han Solo, or Stormtrooper that you see included with the Boba Slave 1. And I guess that's not even considering that Han Solo includes his Carbonite piece that you can place Han Solo into, and so that's really cool, fun, accurate, all of that stuff. And it's pretty clear to me that outside of the rangefinder, which Jango Fett does have a really nice rangefinder, the 2015 Slave 1's minifigs are just better, and therefore it will be receiving the point for the minifig category. I love the Jango, clearly a great figure, but when you have one great figure and one horrible minifig versus one great fig and three good minifigs, I mean, it's pretty clear which one should win out, right? Now, before we compare the play features on these beasts, I've got to tell you about this video's sponsor, Rakuten. I've been using them for years, and most recently during LEGO's May 4th sale, they netted me some amazing extra cash back on my Lego.com purchases. Rakuten is the world's largest cashback site, partnering with over 3,500 of the biggest name brands. This includes Target, eBay, and of course, Lego.com. That does mean whether you're trying to buy the long-retired Boba Fett Slave 1 or the brand new Jango Fett Starship, you'll be be able to earn cash back simply by clicking through to your preferred destination from Rakuten, or you can do my favorite thing and download the free browser extension so that it pops up to remind you to activate your cash back. By the way, this week only, you can shop Rakuten's Festival of Savings promotion and get 15% cash back at hundreds of your favorite retailers, including Lego. Sign up for Rakuten right now with my link in the description below, and you'll get a $40 cashback bonus when you spend $40. It's just a no-brainer to download and use Rakuten. Thank you again to Rakuten for sponsoring the video, link below, and let's talk about those play features. As my high school math teacher would say, it's intuitively obvious to the casual observer that neither of these sets are play sets. Well, he didn't really say the second part of that, but the point stands. These are UCS sets. They're meant for display, but that didn't stop LEGO Star Wars designers from adding some great functionality to them. Play features, if you will, but not really because these aren't play sets, but we are still going to score them on their functions or play features. It feels weird to call them play features on UCS sets. First up, we've got rotating laser cannons on both of these sets. The feature basically works the same for both of them, so yeah, pretty even split there. Next, on the inside of Boba Slave 1, you've actually got some hidden missiles and weapons. That is something that you don't see mirrored in Jango's Slave 1. That went away, so that's something I saw a lot of people really wish the Jango had, but only Boba's does have, so Boba does do a little bit better there, I'd say. Now, where things get really interesting to me is with the loading dock ramp. On Boba's Slave 1, the ramp is pretty stationary, but you can still walk Han Solo and Carbonite up to it and get him up top. And then there's actually this small section at the back that you lift away from Boba's Slave 1, and then there's a clip there. With that clip, you can actually attach Han Solo and Carbonite, and there you go. You've got Han Solo and Carbonite inside of Boba's Slave 1, a perfect feature for that set. Jango's Slave 1 kind of takes it a step further. Obviously no Han Solo and Carbonite here, but you actually have the entire loading ramp that can be pushed down, and this allows a minifig to effectively walk into the Jango Slave 1. I love the way this mechanism feels. It's really smooth. It works really well. You've got some studs on top as well for Boba to stand on. It's just a great feature. So I think both of these sets with their loading dock ramp do something really cool and unique, and I love them both pretty equally. I think I was going to give an edge, though. The Jango one I think is just cooler because of how nice the function feels, but really they both do a great job here. Both of these sets also have rotating wings so that they can remain horizontal whether landed or in flight mode. They work without you actually having to touch them. It's just something that works with gravity, which is really, really nice. Now, with the cockpits, you're going to see a little bit of a difference here. With Boba's Slave 1, there's a bit of a Technic connection that holds the windscreen piece off, so as you detach it, it can be a little bit tough. With Jango's, it's actually just a few studs, so it's a lot easier, I think, to take Jango's cockpit windscreen piece off than it is Boba's. When you actually get inside of Boba's, though, you're going to find a cockpit that can actually rotate, which is a great feature. It doesn't rotate with gravity or anything, so you have to go in there and manually do it, but it does rotate. With Jango's, you're not going to find any rotation. Everything is stationary, except for that top compartment. It can actually be slid out, so you can remove that, and it makes it much easier to place your minifigs inside, which is something that was desperately needed because it doesn't rotate. So I'm glad that they were able to integrate it like that. You can see with the minifigs there, it looks great. And behind that, there's actually a hidden compartment where you can place Jango's jetpack and his weapons. So I love that they're able to include a little bit of extra functionality there, even at the very back of the build. Oh, and I did forget, while it's not a cool hidden compartment like it is on Jango's, there are some clips that you can clip on Boba's blaster inside of his cockpit, so it works, I guess, just not as fancy. Finally, there is one more play feature between both of these sets, and that happens to be on the back of Jango Fett's starship with the seismic charge. You can have it pop out and pretend it explodes, basically. You can also cover it up with the couple of pieces on the back of the Slave 1, so I think they've got an excellent feature set on both of these sets. They both do a lot of things very well as far as getting some accurate functionality on their build, so I don't really think one is way better than the other. It's honestly very tough to decide which of these does the play features or functions better, but with that seismic charge kind of cherry on top, I would say, I lean towards Jango's Slave 1 being better in this category. It's just a little bit more polished as well with some of its functionality, so I'm going to lean towards Jango's Slave 1. It's going to get the point, but not by a lot. Now, both of these sets make pretty extensive use of stickers, despite the fact that people would argue that a set this expensive shouldn't include stickers. It's unfortunately reality here. And so I think the worst one on Boba's Slave 1 are these dark green ones. The dark green just feels too dark compared to Lego's dark green, and so that really looks awkward to me. Obviously, the sticker on the display card isn't the greatest, but it's also not the worst thing they've done with stickers, so I think we can ignore that one. The rest of the stickers on Boba's Slave 1 seem to be pretty good. The colors match very very well. They add a good amount of detail, and I don't really have much of a problem with them. It's just those couple of dark green ones that really stand out to me. Now, I do want to point out one that I think is really good, and that's the light gray sticker at the bottom of the windscreen piece. It creates a nice curve. You can place it really close so it's almost perfectly flush with the bricks, and yeah, that light gray just perfectly matches the light gray. And that brings us to what I think the worst sticker is on the new Jango UCS Slave 1, with that white sticker in that same spot, same design idea there with that curve, but the white just does not match the white of the brick at all. It's nothing even close, especially IRL. I don't know how well it's going to translate on camera, but the white don't match the white, and it does not look good. The rest of the stickers, though, on Jango's add nice detail. They do seem to color match very well. It's just that white on this particular set that doesn't match at all. So it's really unfortunate because that's something that I thought looked so good on Boba's and does not look very good at all on Jango's. So just insane to see that difference over the years. But overall, I think the stickers are okay between both sets. And unfortunately, in the case of Jango's, you can't print that part of the set. There's no way they could print that, I think. I don't know. Maybe they can. Billion-dollar company. Yeah, they should print it, sure. Anyway, that's the sticker situation. I suppose ignoring the cockpit, where on Boba's, you've got a mix of stickers and printed pieces, but on Jango's, you've got exclusively stickers, but they are really nice sticker designs, and so I actually really like what they did with Jango's cockpit there. Also, I guess the seismic charge is all stickered, which sucks, but, you know, it still looks nice, at least, unlike the white on the front of Jango's. So yeah, that's all the sticker stuff. Now, the shape of this set, the overall actual design of it. Boba's I used to think of as one of the best designed Lego Star Wars sets of all time. It's not that anymore. It's just not. You can't look at these side by side and tell me that Boba's is really up to snuff with modern standards. The shape of Jango Slave 1 is about as close to perfect as I feel like you could get. The shape of Boba Slave 1 is just way too narrow, and it's actually insane. Like, it's not something that I ever saw as an issue until you see what it's actually supposed to look like, or what it could look like if they had the proper pieces and abilities, you know, and that's just what they have now in 2025 versus 2015. It makes that old set look dated. The loading dock bay area also looks way better on this newer set instead of having this kind of step design that old one had. It's just a lot smoother, a lot cleaner. I just like it. There's also some similarities with the design, I would say, specifically with like the paneling in the nose area. I will say the nose angle has changed a little bit, and it's much nicer now. It's just a little bit less steep, and dang, it does look nice. Looking at the back of each model side by side, you can see how much more detailed the newer model is, and you can get an idea of some of the crazy techniques they use to get that shape so much better than the 2015 set, where it's just really a brick design versus now it's just, I mean, it is bricks and plates still for the most part, but it's just crazy how much more intricate it is now. So as much as you can see a lot of the advancements and changes on the front of the Slave 1, looking at the back really, I think, tells the whole story, because you can really see how it came to be. Structurally, we also see some improvements with the new set, specifically with these panels here. They're just way looser on the old one versus the new one, just a much stronger feel. I'm much more confident picking up the newer set. I don't feel like it's going to break apart versus the old one. You can pick it up the same way, but it's a little bit scary to do. Now, as far as actually displaying these sets, a lot of people might want to display them next to each other on a shelf, and look, you do what you want with your stuff, but I wouldn't recommend it because I think Jango Slave 1 makes Boba Slave 1 look bad, and that was a crazy realization to come to, but I had to. But it's just the dang truth, so I would keep these sets far apart, so at least when you see Boba Slave 1, you aren't immediately reminded that it is now kind of dated, and it makes you feel old. So I think it should be pretty clear that for display and design, the Jango Starship is going to be better here, and it really should be that way because it's a 10-year newer UCS model. You know, if it was worse or still even, that would be bad. So I'm very happy to say that I do think the new Jango UCS Slave 1 is a better designed, better for display model, just overall more accurate. Yeah, it does a lot of things much better. It really did improve in a lot of little ways. I think judging the value for money between these two sets is going to be really tough. In 2015, we saw an original retail price of $200, adjusted for inflation to make it fair, of course. It's about $270. Again, put it against a $300 set, so only 10% more money for the new Jango Fett Slave 1, and I weighed them, I was curious, the new one weighs, you wouldn't believe it, 10% more, despite having 1,000 more pieces. So the piece count not super relevant here, though, if you were curious, it's about 13.5 cents per piece, inflation adjusted, and 10 cents per piece on the other side here. Minifigs also need to be accounted for when talking about value, and in 2015, we saw 4 of them versus only 2 for 2025, so a pretty bad reduction there. There's other considerations such as printed pieces and unique molds, which, by the way, both of these windscreen canopy pieces were created for their respective sets, which is kind of a cool fact. There's also packaging. I mean, that's more valuable to me than that, but it's not a huge consideration when it comes to spending $300, I guess, for a UCS Slave 1. I suppose since I'm so conflicted about which set is the better value, I should probably just award them both a point for the value category, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. Both of these sets are getting a point here, both of them very fairly priced in the world of LEGO Star Wars sets. Definitely not overpriced. I wouldn't say underpriced, but very, very fairly priced. So two great value sets here, and let's move on to the final category with my opinion. Now, as far as my opinion between these two sets, literally, I thought of Boba Slave 1 as one of the best LEGO Star Wars sets of all time. Probably very easily top 5. And then as soon as I built Jango's Slave 1, put it next to Boba's Slave 1, I immediately thought there's no way this is even competing for that position anymore, because the design has been so blown out of the water by the Jango Slave 1. Now, the conversation can still be had about that young Boba minifig and the quantity of minifigs in Boba Slave 1, right? But as a complete package, I mean, I guess as a complete package, this thing has the packaging, right? It's way cleaner. But, like, this build is just so good that I can't even look at this thing anymore. Okay, maybe I can still look at it, but, like, you get the point. It's a very weird thing because I feel like there's been very few LEGO Star Wars sets that have made me look at something that I thought of as one of the best of all time and no longer think that it's even in the same ballpark as the new version. So I obviously hate the young Boba Fett minifig. I wish it said Slave 1 on the plaque, but to not consider this model better than this model would be insane. Like, it's just clearly night and day how much better they have gotten with their design over the last 15 years. Something that was considered possibly number 1 10 years ago. I don't even know how I could look at it and think it's top 20, top 30 now. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, but, like, it's that crazy of a upgrade in the build to me. So I think the new Jango Slave 1 surpasses the Boba Slave 1, and I hope they revisit Boba Slave 1. I know a lot of people probably watching this comparison wanting to buy both of these and put them next to each other or whatever. I still think they'll remake this at some point, and I hope they do it as close to a one-to-one, like, recolor of this so that we don't have another scenario where they don't really go together, because I don't think you can put these sets on a shelf together. I mean, you can do what you want, but I certainly would not display these next to each other because of how different they look at this point. And that is a compliment to the designer of this set, and also not a knock at the same time against the designer of the set. It's just the time, like, it's been 10 years. Like, it just happens sometimes, right? This is just so much better. It's insane. So, in my opinion, this one is better, and that brings us to a final score on this comparison of 4 points for Jango Fett's Slave 1 and 2 points for Boba Fett's Slave 1. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the comparison between these two epic UCS sets, one of which seems to have fallen off a bit, but still, you know, it's respectable, but man, it's crazy. They need to remake this, right? They need to remake this now. It's even more important to me that they make a UCS Boba Slave 1 remake. Maybe in a couple years when this one retires, I assume. That would probably make sense, 2027 or something. Anyway, let me know what you think about these two sets in the comments section below. Make sure you also check out today's sponsor, Rakuten, with my link in the description below. Get your bonus cash back and just start earning cash back on your LEGO purchases. There's no reason not to. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed, and you can check out more LEGO Star Wars comparisons on the end screen now.